Captain Lark sighed a breath of relief. The sun was setting on a wretched day. Good, if it was up to him, he would go and sleep in his room. But no, he was the captain. It was his duty to take care of his crew, his ship. He was in charge. And they had a problem. After the Dandan, they were good and lost. Now that they were safe, he could get his orientations. Stars would be coming out soon, and he could find the constellations and their location. He had a rough idea where they should be, but Ruff could easily land them in dangerous waters. This wasn't too bad, though. He had been lost at sea before and made it back. They'll do it again. Land ho! The cry came down from above. Captain Lark looked up. His man was pointing off the bow. Moving to the front, the captain pulled out his brass spyglass. Rising above the waves was a small island. Mangrove branches swayed with a gentle breeze. Stroking his chin, he thought, okay, he must be wrong about their location. He didn't think that there was an island here. Make for the island, he decided. We can do some repairs and rest for a day or two. Aye, aye, sir, the crew jumped. They swung through the ropes and the riggings. Their sails were full as they made haste. As the last light faded, they reached the island. Their ship rocked just off the shore. The water was too dark to see into the depths below. They lowered the anchor and it rested. The crew had gone ashore and built a bonfire. They drank and sang into the night as they feasted on the extra rations the captain had offered up after such a day. Captain Lark was slow to get to dinner, as he stood on the deck with his sextant looking at the stars. Stroking his chin, he kept thinking. Yeah, he was sure about where they were, but there shouldn't be an island here. Maybe the cartographers had missed it. That has happened before, but still, nah, it doesn't matter. Finally, he made his way to the shore. A tankard was forced into his hand, and he drank deeply. The grog had been flavored with lime. Very nice. A fine investment. He sat down in the sand and dug his boots into the coarse surface. Oh, they'd be full of that stuff in the morning, but tonight... The sand shifted under him. An earthquake? Was this island volcanic? Was that why it sprang up all of a sudden? No. There were trees here. This couldn't be a new island. A low bellow filled the air. The island moved. Yes, it moved. The island was sailing. His eyes sprang to the sapphire swan. Its anchor line had gone taut. It was about to snap as the anchor suddenly dragged it along with the island. Waves rushed back along the shoreline as the hill rose at the north end of the island. No, not a hill, a head. A massive turtle head rose from the ocean. Get back to the ship, commanded Captain Lark. He spun in the sand and ran for the boat. Welcome back to Mythical Phylogeny Adventures. I'm your guide, Jason. Being marooned on an island is never good, but worse when your home is moving. Will it sail to the frozen north where you'll meet your end, or will it dive below the waves and leave you to float in the middle of the ocean? That is the terror of the island turtle. Let's take a look at such an incredible creature. The world turtle is a mythical turtle who bears the earth on its back. It appears in Hindu mythology and several Native American stories, and even a few others. This creature seems to permeate every region of the world. Why? I haven't been able to figure that out. I have no idea which was the oldest of these turtles. Today, however, we are looking at the much smaller of these turtles, Chelonidae terraria. I feel this would be a nice, proper scientific name for the island turtle. This is a giant sea turtle the size of an island. Their exact size ranges from a few hundred feet, probably juvenile, to miles for the adults. Definitely an impressive creature. There are countless stories of sailors finding the island only for it to start moving on them. They panic and often meet a dismal end. Rarely is it because the island turtle is hostile. These creatures will often have flora growing on their backs. Okay, in order for plants to grow on the back, there are a few things that will be needed. Plants need a substrate to adhere to and grow from. Plants will grow most anywhere, so what would be the first plants to grow on a turtle's back? There is an order of ecological succession, and first up is mosses, algae, and lichens. Oh, and look, we already have turtles that have mosses growing on their backs. Perfect! Wait, is this safe for the turtle? Well, yes, it is common in wild turtles. The moss will set down roots into the crevices of the shell and usually don't cause damage. Rarely it will cause shell rot, but that is more from the moss bringing in parasites and other such animals. Okay, now the mosses and algae have pull the sand from the water and deposit it on the shell and hold it together. That leaves an opening for trees and bushes to grow out. Their roots will dig into the shell and damage it. But due to the size of the island turtle, that may not be too deep. Or are they? The island turtle is big, and big animals need to breathe a lot. Normal sea turtles can hold their breath for 20 minutes while awake, but up to several hours while resting. This does vary with species. Part of how they do this is the glands near the anus, which will exchange oxygen. Will this in the lungs be enough for a giant turtle? It'll be more akin to a whale in how it breathes, which is about 90 minutes on the average. Longer than the turtle actually. The turtles breathing with their lungs may be enough, it seems. Still, there may be a way to increase that further. Rather than have the turtle breathe, let the plants on its back breathe. If the turtle's circulatory system can link to the tree's roots, it can rely on the plants to produce oxygen for it. This isn't a one-way trade. No, the tree can get the biowaste straight from the turtle. In addition, a forest on a turtle's back will provide home for birds and other animals to feed on parasites, which would cause the shell rot. What happens if the turtle dives underwater? That would kill its forests. Most trees cannot survive submerged beneath salt water. In Alaska, there are large ghost forests of trees that sank in salt water and died after an earthquake. So what sort of forest would actually grow on a turtle's back? Well, one tree best known for this environment is the mangrove trees. Their roots are designed to sit in salt water. Yet they can't tolerate diving underwater. They still need to have the foliage above the water. That removes all the trees from the turtle's back if it dives. What about kelp? That couldn't survive well in the open air. Nope, won't do either. I couldn't find any plant that would survive both submerged in salt water and out in the open air. This is fine. I think this is for the best, in fact. Why? How do turtles breed? The basic mechanics of mating wouldn't be different than that of the usual sea turtle. The male positions itself over the female's back, and that would damage any plant matter on her back. And if we have the plants linked to the turtle's respiratory system, then the female turtle would die from mating. That wouldn't be any good. After pairing, the next question is, where do they lay their eggs? Sea turtles need to travel to land to lay their eggs, since their eggs and developing young need to breathe air too. Something that can't be done underwater. If an island turtle goes on land to lay their eggs, that is going to be a problem. The island turtle would have to drag its several 100-ton body across the ground, rocks, trees, and anything else in its way to dig a nest, lay her egg, and turn back to sea. That won't be easy and would potentially be very damaging to the turtle's body. But do they have to go to land, or is there an easier way? The male's back. There are frogs which lay their eggs pressed into the back of one parent who protects them. I think the island turtle will do something similar. After mating, the female will position herself above the male and deposit the eggs on his back. Underwater, any sand or dirt may be washed away unless the moss can hold in position. So the female will come along and spit dirt onto the male's back to bury the eggs, while the male waits on the surface holding the eggs. After the eggs are safe, they may pair up, split, or travel together. The male may need to remain on the surface and guard the eggs. While at sea, the only predators for the eggs will be birds and sailors. If the island turtle stays together, the female can chase predators away from the male by spitting water like a geyser at them. The male will be unable to take evasive maneuvers or dive without risk losing its eggs. During this time, I would think that it would go dormant and enter a sleep-like state to conserve energy due to being unable to dive and hunt, assuming that the female doesn't bring her mate food. This would be when they are most often met by humans. After the eggs hatch, they can swim off on their own. They'll be larger than the average sea turtle, but not safe from predators. They'll need to live for over 1,000 years to reach their adult size, where they'd be able to breed. During this time, they are subject to predation by things like the dandan and critters, or any other of the creatures that are on the horizon. It will be a challenge for them to survive. The island turtles aren't aggressive. While they'll eat you if they get the chance, they don't usually hunt down sailors. Oh, they'll chew on your boat, but you can outsail them. Coating your ship in a foul substance won't do much for an island turtle. Sea turtles routinely eat jellyfish and other poisonous sea life. So you'll want to make your ship look larger than its mouth. A simple disguise using the sails to trick the reptile into thinking that you're something bigger than it is. After the mouth, there are the fins I can hit you with. They are only big. No claws or talons, no poison. Simply keep your distance. Yet those fins can create waves that can capsize a smaller boat. Taking them head on will mitigate the danger. I suggested that the island turtle can create waves and spit water to attack. Those can knock your ship about and potentially break a mast. Using a wind spell or ice magic to shield yourself would work. Your tough shell and scaly skin will take a force to get through. Swords, spears, and arrows are pointless. A cannon would be your best choice. Aim for the opening around the fins in the head, or go for the mouth and eyes. The mouth is an opening for explosives or fire spells. Lightning can be devastating in battle, but you'll need to stay insulated from the blowback. The best way through the shell is to drop something very heavy onto it from up high. This will break and crack it. But how do we get it up high? Got a bird or a levitation spell to do that. Another option are rot spells. These are slower, but can render the shell pointless. The real danger of an island turtle is when you land on it, and it starts to move. You land and think that the land is safe, until it sails away with you. It may be slow and hard to tell, especially at sea where landmarks are difficult to find. Get to your ship first. Don't worry about fighting the turtle. It has the ultimatum of going deep and leaving you to swim forever. How to stop that? Ice. Ice floats in water. Use that to buoy the turtle up, and use it to make yourself float. The island turtle isn't a major threat. It doesn't have much in terms of offense. Just be careful of landing on any island you find, and there shouldn't be any problems. They just have their size. That's why I'm giving the island turtle a 4 of 10 for difficulty. So what happens if you do kill the island turtle? First off, it is big, and you can eat the tons of turtle meat that comes with it. There are quite a few nice recipes, turtle soup being a popular one. After that, there are the scales and skin. Tanning, you can create a sturdy leather that can armor your ship, or use it in larger shields and body armor. It is thick, but pliable when worked by a master leatherworker. Then you have the shells and bones. With turtles, their shell is fused into the rib bones. While heavy, you can bring them to shore and use them to build structures, houses and fortresses. The smaller ones can be used to reinforce your ship. You may also be able to snatch up some eggs. They're large and one will feed several grown men for a day or more. But can an island turtle be domesticated? This won't be easy. They live a long time and will need to be encouraged to work with something living on its back. You'll need to bring food to encourage its cooperation. Your homes will need to be mounted into the shell and will take care not to damage the shell. You can help protect against parasites and work in maintaining its covers. I wouldn't consider this a highly valuable option. Your home survival is dependent on the whims and cooperation of an animal. It will also bring predators to your door. You'll want to bolster your defenses, but you can't go over the burden of the turtle. Tell me, would you wish for this for your home? But what if, rather than a house, you hide treasure on the turtle? Well, no. The turtle is going to move, and if you have treasure, you'll want to find it again someday. Unless it's something you want to lose forever. But if that is the case, I choose someplace harder, or it would be a better place to defend it. Besides, sooner or later, the island turtle will die, either by a predator or by the jaws of time. Captain Locke rushed forward. A man tripped, and he forced the man back up. He sprang into the salt water and began to swim. A current rose and tossed him about. He kept his focus on the ship. Grabbing a mooring line, he pulled himself back onto the deck. "Bring the anchor up," he commanded as the first of his men stepped up alongside him. Water dripped from their soaked clothing. "Aye, aye," they chorused as they went to work. They handled the sails as Captain Locke took the helm. A massive wave rose up before them, and he turned the Sapphire Swan towards it. The ship rose up before came crashing down on the other side. A giant flipper came up and sent the ship craning sideways. He steadied her as the next wave faced them. He threw a final look over his shoulder as the island turtle splashed away from him. It dove under the water to drown their bonfire on its back and the source of its pain. Island turtles are fascinating, a marvel of aquatic life forms. They can surprise you at the most unexpected moment, though rarely a true threat. More of a hindrance to deal with. Thank you for watching. Please come back next week where we meet the skeletal whale Bakokujiro. Until then, I'll see you on the roads.